3, 2, 1, let's jam. Let's be real. A lot of VTubers are not just tired. They are emotionally hurt, mentally drained, spiritually worn down. And the worst part? A lot of them do not even realize they are burning out until they start resenting the very thing they once loved. That is what makes Vtuber burnout so dangerous. Because burnout does not always look so dramatic at first. Sometimes it can look like procrastination. Sometimes it can look like irritability. And sometimes it looks like, I just need a break. But underneath that, there's often something much deeper happening. Because Vtuber burnout is usually not just about too much streaming. It's about what happens when your creativity gets trapped inside pressure. When your passion starts getting strangled by performance. When you stop feeling like a person and start feeling like a machine that has to consistently prove that it deserves to be seen. And in a space like VTubing, that can happen a lot faster than people want to admit. So in this video, I want to break down the psychology of why VTubers burn out, why this happens so often, why it hits so hard, and how a creative outlet can slowly transform into something that feels emotionally suffocating. Because if you're a VTuber, a streamer, a creator, or even somebody who just watches from the outside trying to understand why so many people vanish, collapse, withdraw, or even change, this conversation matters. And yes, this is part of it. Because psychologically speaking, burnout runs deeper than just exhaustion. Burnout is what happens when effort stops feeling meaningful, when the thing that once energized you starts to drain you, when rest no longer feels restoration, because the stress is not just physical, it is emotional, it's mental, it's identity-based, and that matters because VTubing is not just press go and live and play game. No. For a lot of people, VTubing is performance. It is branding. It is social pressures. It is community management. It is emotional labor. It is content creation. It's editing. It's network. It can be entertaining, likable, rememberable, consistent, visible, and relevant all at the same time. And when all of that starts stacking on top of each other, burnout stops being a possibility. It becomes predictable. That's the first thing people need to understand. A lot of VTubers are not weak. They're not even lazy. They're not just bad at handling pressure. They're often dealing with a form of pressure that is consistent, social, creative, emotional, and algorithmic all at once. That combination will chew people alive. Let's talk about it. One of the biggest psychological reasons VTubers burn out is because they start feeling like they always have to be on. I do always mean on, not just on streams, but on Twitter, on Discord, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Shorts, in group chats, in collaborations, in DMs, in their branding, in how they present themselves, in how they often speak, even in how often they disappear, or in how they often are seen. There is this constant pressure to maintain presence. And the more a creator grows, the easier it is for that pressure to become eternalized. Because now it is no longer just, I want to make content. It now becomes, I need to stay active. I need to stay visible. I need to keep the momentum. I need to keep posting more. I need to make sure people don't forget about me. I need to make sure that the algorithm doesn't punish me. I need to make sure I still matter. That is not creative anymore. That is not creativity anymore. That is survival mode. And survival mode kills joy. The reason why this is so psychologically exhausting is because human beings are not built to perform identity non-stop. You are not supposed to feel like your existence has to stay optimal at all times. That's unrealistic, that's unfeasible, that is self-destructive. But VTubing can absolutely condition people into that mindset, especially if they are ambitious, especially if they deeply care, especially if they are already prone to anxiety, perfectionism, rejection sensitivity, or people-pleasing. Because then, the platform does not just become something they're used to. It becomes something that starts training their nervous system. And once your nervous system starts to associate rest with danger, burnout is right around the corner. This is where it starts getting ugly. A lot of creators say they don't care about numbers. And I get it. I understand why people say that. And let's be honest, most creators care at least a little. Because numbers are not just numbers in creator spaces. They start feeling like social proof. Views start feeling like validation. Followers start feeling like worth. Raids start feeling like acceptance. Clips start feeling like evidence that you matter. Low engagement start feeling like rejection. And once that association starts forming, your brain can begin interpreting performance metrics emotionally instead of analytically. That is dangerous, because then a slow stream doesn't just feel like a slow stream. It feels personal. A weak post does not just feel underwhelming. It feels like failure. A lack of support does not just feel disappointing. It starts feeling like maybe you're not enough anymore. And when somebody lives in that mindset for too long, burnout can even get worse because of the person is no longer just creating. They're unconsciously asking the internet to tell them if they still deserve to feel seen. This is a brutal way to live. It's unsustainable, especially in a space where momentum fluctuates consistently, especially in a space where somebody can do everything right and still get overlooked, especially in a space where comparison is unavoidable. So, now you have a creator who is already tired. And on top of that, they're emotionally trying to value their unsustainable numbers. That's not just pressure, that's psychological erosion. This, to me, is one of the clearest signs that burnout has actually started. When passion turns into guilt. At the beginning, a lot of YouTubers create because it feels fun, exciting, creative, freeing. Maybe they love the character aspect. Maybe they love performance. Maybe they love games. Maybe they love community. Maybe they finally found a space where they felt like they could express themselves. And this is beautiful. This is wonderful. But over time, something can shift. And suddenly, that language changes. Instead of, I want to stream, it becomes, I should stream. Instead of, I want to make a video, it becomes, I need to make content. Instead of, I want to talk to my community, it becomes, I have to stay active. Instead of, I need rest, it becomes, I'm falling behind. That word, should, is one of the biggest warning signs in burnout psychology. Because should usually means the joy has already started getting replaced by obligation. And obligation alone can only carry creativity for so long before it starts collapsing under its own weight. You can force output for a while, but you cannot force genuine aliveness forever. Eventually, the body will notice. The mind will notice. Your emotions will notice. And that's when creators start feeling numb, detached, uninspired, irritated, cynical, cognitive dissonance, if you would. Not because they stopped caring, but because they cared for too long under the wrong conditions. Let's talk about one of the biggest silent killers in VTubing, comparison. VTubing in a space where you can consistently see what everybody else is doing, who is growing, who is getting fan art, who is getting clipped, who is getting invited, who is being praised, who is being noticed, who is getting opportunities, and who is blowing up. And if you're not careful, your brain starts turning everybody else's success into evidence of your own inadequacies. This is how comparison poisons you. It does not just make you jealous. It makes you question your own timing, your own talent, your own effort, your own value, your own identity. It can make somebody who is objectively making progress feeling like they are failing because somebody else is moving faster. This is a trap. Because now it does not even matter what you achieve. Your nervous system is focused on what you lack. And once comparisons become chronic, even good things start feeling good to you. A compliment doesn't land. A growth milestone doesn't feel satisfying. A good stream does not feel fulfilling for long, because the mind has already moved the goalposts. This is how creators end up trapped in a cycle where nothing feels like enough. And when nothing feels like enough, burnout accelerates. A lot of people underestimate how emotionally draining VTubing can be, because from the outside, it can look fun, and it can be fun. It can be amazing. But fun does not cancel out labor. VTubing is often carrying the mood of the room. They are reading chat, maintaining energy, trying to be welcoming, trying to be entertaining, trying to de-escalate weirdness, trying to handle inappropriate behavior, trying to keep the conversation moving, trying to make people feel included, valued, trying to be more accessible without becoming emotionally consumed. This is emotional labor, and emotional labor becomes especially dangerous when the creator is already somebody who is naturally empathetic, conflict awareness, trauma aware, and hyper vigilant. Because now they are not trying to create, they are scanning, monitoring, managing, absorbing, performing stability even when they do not feel stable themselves. This is exhausting. And if a creator keeps giving emotional energy without recharging it, resentment can start creeping in. That resentment may not even be directed to the audience. Sometimes it can become resentment towards the role itself, towards the pressure, towards expectation, towards the consistent demand to be available. And once a person starts resenting the same they used to love, this is where burnout can turn into withdrawal. This part gets deep. Once the darkest parts of a creator burnout is the identity split that can happen over time. What do I mean by this? I mean the split between who you are and who you feel required to be. A lot of VTubers start with a character, a brand, a persona that helps them express something real. This is not fake. That can actually be very powerful. But if the pressure builds up for too long, the creator can slowly lose track of where the expression ends and where the performance begins. And then the question starts changing. Instead of asking, how am I doing? How am I feeling? What do I need? What would actually help me right now? The creator can start asking, what would be good content? What would people want from me? What keeps engagement up? And what version of me works best? This, again, is a dangerous shift, because now the person is no longer centered in their own life. Now their value system is being outsourced. And when somebody lives like that for too long, they can start feeling emotionally alienated from themselves. like they are present, but not connected, visible but not grounded, active but not alive. That is very painful. This is a very painful way to burn out because it makes the recovery harder. Why? Because now rest is not about stepping away from work. It's about reconnecting with yourself. What separates VTuber and you? What separates the expectation and what your expectations are? Are you the same person when the camera's off? Or are you still performing when the stream ends? That is harder than people think. Here is the part that hurts. A lot of VTubers know something is wrong before they even do anything about it. They feel the dread, they feel the numbness, they feel the pressure, they feel the irritability, they feel the exhaustion, but they keep going anyway. Now, why is that? Well, because they're scared. Scared of losing momentum, scared of becoming irrelevant, scared that taking breaks means disappearing, scared that the audience will move on, scared that all their efforts will collapse if they let go for even a second. And in some cases, there's another fear underneath all that. The fear that if they stop performing, they will have to face how bad they are actually feeling. That part is too real. Sometimes non-stop productivity is not just ambition. It can be a coping mechanism. Sometimes it can be avoidance. Avoidance of grief, avoidance of loneliness, avoidance of insecurities, avoidance of emptiness, avoidance of asking, do I still enjoy this? That is why burnout is not always solved by just taking a weekend off. Sometimes the creator does not just need rest. Sometimes they need honesty. So what does a healthier VTubing looks like? It does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you stop being ambitious. It does not mean you stop pushing yourself. It means your relationship to the craft has to stay human. That means learning that rest is not failure, that silence is not disappearance, that one bad stream does not end your worth, that momentum is not the same as meaning, that your audience does not own your nervous system, that your creativity needs room to breathe if you want it to stay alive. Healthier VTubing means creating from grounded intentions instead of chronic panic. It means asking yourself questions like, am I making this because I genuinely want to? Or because I'm scared of what happens if I do not? Am I showing up because I love this, or is it because I feel guilty? Am I building something real, or am I trying to outrun insecurities with productivity? These are hard questions to ask yourself because they matter, because burnout recovery is not just about doing less. It is about understanding what has been driving you in the first place. If your content lives, if your content life is powered entirely by guilt, fear, comparison, and the need to consistently prove yourself, you will eventually crash. No matter how talented you are, no matter how passionate you are, no matter how much you love the art, you have to love yourself. You have to love the game. You have to love the craft you're doing. If you're on autopilot consistently all the time, ignoring your emotions, ignoring your needs, ignoring the warning signs on the dashboard of life, you will crash, you will burn. And you may go down the route of blaming everyone else but yourself, of not taking care of yourself. This is important. I want others to succeed. I want others to understand that their mental health, no matter where in life you are, comes first. It can rot, it can erode, it can be manipulated. You have to look at yourself honestly about the things you love and care about, and look at them honestly. Take better care of yourself. Ask yourself, are you doing this because you love these things? Or are you doing this because you're scared of looking at yourself honestly? VTuber burnout is not just about being overworked. It is what happens when a person starts feeling like they have to earn the right to matter through consistent output. I want you to read that again. I want you to read my exact words again. It is what happens when a person starts feeling like they have to earn the right to matter through consistent output. A lot of creators are not just tired. They are carrying a pressure that is quietly teaching them, be visible or be forgotten, be productive or fall behind, be entertaining or lose your relevance, be available or lose your connections forever. This is the kind of pressure does not just wear down your schedule. It wears down your sense of self, your sense of identity, your sense of worth, who you are as a person. This is why this conversation matters and why we're having it today. Because VTubing should be an extension of your creativity, not a machine that slowly convinces you that your values only exist when you are performing. If you are a VTuber, or you are feeling that pressure right now, hear me very clearly. You are not weak for being exhausted. You are not broken for feeling detached. You are not a failure because your body and mind are reaching an unsustainable pressure. You are human. And if your passion is starting to feel like a cage, do not ignore that. Listen to it. Because sometimes burnout is not your mind betraying you. Sometimes it is your mind begging you to stop treating survival mode like it is the same energy as your purpose. If this hits home for you, let me know in the comments. If you have felt burnout as a VTuber, as a streamer, or even as a creator, what did it feel like for you? Did it show up as exhaustion, guilt, numbness, pressure, resentment? And if you want to know more, if you want more videos breaking down psychology behind VTubing, streaming culture, mental health, subscribe and stick around. I often talk about these stuff on my kick when I'm streaming, because these conversations matter to break the condition, to break the stigma, to have more open dialogue about our feelings and who we are and what we are. And I think a lot more people are going through this more than they want to admit. Anyways, take care, be safe, be well, and enjoy the lounge.